Hey guys, welcome back to the Tiny Lab build site. We are working with tape to do magic today because we have a very interesting problem, which I want to show to you in a minute. My first problem is that this guy has been mowing his lawn for the last 2 hours, and the lady behind the camera is about to give birth any hour now. So we're working with the iPhone again. Thanks for being patient with our quality with doing this handheld stuff. So we have our very sexy tape. The special thing about this is that it is essentially the same thing as this black shroud. This is the Solatex. This is made by the same company. This is called Vana tape. It's just that kind of workhorse tape. So what I am doing right now is cutting a bunch of identical pieces of this. I line them up, I make a cut, get rid of that, finish up the cut, turn around, do the same thing again. And I've been doing this for 15 minutes. Now, here's what happens. Your scissors that you're using, I'm using some nice shears here, get all sticky because you are cutting tape that is rated for an air seal for 100 years. And if you want to know if that's serious, try putting it on and then taking it off. You will rip wood apart. It's amazing. So, of course, your scissors are going to get all gummed up. When that happens, you need to use the special force and press into your thumb like you do when you're really trying to make a straight cut on a thick piece of paper. And it'll go right through. So you need to use special scissor technique, because technique is important, so that you can get all nice sized pieces without going crazy with gumming everything up. So let's move over to my problem. Now, in addition to the lawnmower, my cat is also yowling like crazy, so we're just going to be patient with that. This is not exactly my problem, but it is causing my problem. This is a very nice intake terminal for a vent. This vent is going to be bringing in fresh air for a very special purpose that you guys are all going to be aware of once we actually do the video on the Brown stuff that we're installing for ventilation. However, this is about 3.5 inches long, and I am putting it onto my siding, but I have to weather seal everything that goes through my weather barrier, which is this black stuff behind it, to whatever is penetrating it. Here's my problem. When I put this up in there, of course, it's bigger than the hole that I'm installing it on. So I can't put it in, then weather seal this. And I can't weather seal it, then put the siding back on, because this thing is bigger than the siding. It has to go in a special order. So we have a catch-22. Here is my solution, and we worked with the guys at 475 High Performance Building Supply to come up with another solution that I'm going to show you in another video. But this is kind of a special thing that I'm just trying to see if it works. We have a circular hole, which requires a special approach anyway. So I have made this flap. This is essentially like, it kind of reminds me of like a car wash or something when you go through the car wash. The idea is that I'm making all of these little flaps with the identical size pieces of tape that are connected to the Solatex membrane right here. As you can see, like I said, the tape is the membrane, just with a sticky side. So these are all, for all intents and purposes, the same exact material. So this is going to be able to form my airtight layer and my watertight layer if I can get this to work properly. So to show you what technique I'm using here, I don't want this tape to stick to anything besides itself yet. So I'm going to take off a piece, going to very carefully apply it to the back side of the membrane. And press, because this is a pressure activated adhesive. Then I'm going to take another identical piece. So the sticky side is facing me right now. And I'm going to apply it to the front to match up with that piece. Now you have to be very careful when you're working with this metal siding. My deburring tool is coming, and I will show you that when it's here, but I have these really sharp edges on this metal that I've cut. When you're cutting this stuff, you can just use regular old hand shears. I was nervous about using a hammer, hammer is fine for attaching my cedar siding. It's actually fun to get my hands on. And this is a perfectly useful tool, even though it's not electrified at all. If you are going to buy these shears, get the ones with an angle on them. Never buy straight shears. They're not going to work for you, and you're going to get crazy burrs sticking out of this stuff, the splinters. So these are great, and they don't cost that much money. If you would like to be more fancy, which is necessary when you're cutting this corrugated metal, because the ridges do not agree with these handheld shears. It's impossible to get in here and not bend this up like crazy. So this is a diamond wheel cutting saw. So this is electrified. You turn it on, it makes crazy noise, it throws sparks everywhere, very cool and interesting. But also a little bit scary, because if you miss something, then you go off into la la land and all of a sudden you've made a mistake that now you're gonna have to cover up. Okay, so now I have just made a little flap, and I can fold any sticky edges because I don't want it to stick to the metal when I push it through. But I'm going to keep on going with this until I have a smaller hole inside of this bigger hole, and when I push this through, it's going to take all of those fingers and spread them to the inside so that they will very slightly overlap. At that point, I can go inside and put a long piece of this around the entire thing, connecting those flaps to the outer surface on the inside of the wall cavity of this vent terminal. So let's see that. So now at the inside of this same hole in the wall, I have cut away the Intello to expose it. This is super easy to just tape up later, so don't feel precious about cutting into this. I want to expose the hole, and now I'm going to be able to cut away my insulation, which, again, it's nice that I'm able to do this with just a bread knife or a steak knife. And I'll be able to put this back exactly the way that it was. Bingo. Put that to the side. Now you can see it worked! There is my car wash flap. You can see the flaps have come in, and they're sticking to the sides of this thing. They're not actually sticking yet. I'm going to tape around it, but it goes all the way around to the underside, and you can see that it's too dark, but just trust me in that. Now I'm going to have two issues. One is this right here where it butts up against the stud in the wall, and the other is right here at the floor. Bingo. Solid. So I will explain what this is in another video, but in the meantime, we just taped the outside. I am also going to tape the inside of that joint where the outer terminal connects with this duct right here, and then I'm going to replace the insulation. Without squeezing it, because the main ingredient in insulation is air, not this stuff. So I want it to be poofy and nice and comfortable in there. Great. So now that we've done that, I'm going to reseal my air tightness layer, and we're all set. Don't forget to mechanically fasten everything, because this thing is going to be going down the road and it's going to be shaking apart. So if you did not screw it together, it's not going to stay together. So I hope that this has been interesting for you. Remember, if you have this same problem in a high-performance rain-screened wall assembly, this is one really good option. I look forward to the responses. If you have other ideas, please mention them in the comments below. Please also post video responses if you have other techniques that would work in this situation. I hope that you subscribe to our channel and join us on the Proof is Possible tour. Tune in next time.